evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight, a good news show. Don't get those too often. It's April 25th, 2022. Elon Musk bought Twitter today. That means that Twitter henceforth will be privately held. Elon Musk will determine what is allowed on the platform. Now, why is this significant? Not because it signals the sudden arrival of oligarchy, as you're hearing now. It's too late for that. Oligarchy is already here. Every major tech company is already controlled by billionaires. That's been the case for a long time. So this is nothing new. The reason today's sale of Twitter is big news, the reason it could turn out to be a pivot point in our history, is that Elon Musk does not agree with the rest of the billionaires in the tech business. Unlike the leaders of Facebook, Google, Apple, Amazon, Elon Musk believes in free speech. He thinks everyone should be allowed to talk, including people who disagree with him. I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter, Musk wrote today on his new platform, because that is what free speech means. Now, that sounds like an entirely American sentiment, but in this atmosphere, that is a revolutionary posture. Of the 5 companies that control the flow of virtually all information that is consumed by the citizens of this country, Twitter is by far the smallest of the group. But it doesn't matter. One platform going rogue is enough to break the monopoly. That means you now have real options for expressing yourself. Going forward, if you disagree with the administration's latest directive, you get to say so out loud to an audience. So they're up there every day from the podium, the biggest megaphone in the world, commanding you to hate this or that group, lecturing you about who's good and who's evil, as if you're a child and have no right to decide for yourself these things, the basic things. But before today, you didn't have a right to express your disagreement in public. If you had an opposing opinion, or even more dangerous than that, if you had countervailing facts that undermine their storyline, the tech companies would shut you down immediately. It happened to us. It happened to a lot of people, most of whom you've never heard of. Never hearing about those people was the whole point of shutting them down. But that's over. After today, you'll be able to post your dissent in a place where other people might have a reasonable chance of seeing it. In other words, you will have a chance to change other people's minds, just like the White House does every day. So you just became a little more powerful. The people already in charge just became a little less powerful. It's that simple, and it's that profound. Of course, it could change. It's possible that at some point Elon Musk will decide he doesn't really want dissenting views on Twitter. That could happen. Elon Musk can do whatever he wants, just as Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg can do whatever they want and often do. This is the cost to the rest of us of living under a political system that is so dysfunctional it cannot even guarantee the core freedoms it promises its own citizens. And free speech is the first on that list. Why? Because democracy depends upon free speech. And the irony is, if you'd like to save democracy, you are forced to look outside the democratic system in order to do it. At this point, you have no choice but to put your hopes in the good intentions of an eccentric billionaire. There's no other option because no one else is coming to the rescue. So in the case of Elon Musk, we will see how this turns out. But for now, Musk's purchase of Twitter is the single biggest political development since Donald Trump's election in 2016. It is certainly the most threatening challenge to the corrupt and incompetent leadership of this country. Now, that may not be obvious to everyone yet, but the people in charge certainly understand it. Here was the scene inside Twitter headquarters in San Francisco when the Musk deal was announced. Sorry, wrong tape. But the very same idea. What you just saw was the collective grief of people who thought they were going to be fully in charge, who totally believed they'd be able to rule without limit. You're watching those people learn that actually other people get to talk too. And that realization is crushing to them. It's the one thing they fear. And that tells you everything about why those people should never be near power. People who want a monopoly on speech and thought hate Elon Musk. Not because he's a racist, he's not, but because they can't control him. They hate him because he persists in saying things like this.
Why make that offer?
Well, I think it's very important for there to be an inclusive arena for free speech. My strong intuitive sense is that having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization.
But you've described yourself.
I don't care about the economics at all.
So free speech is extremely important to civilization. Are you triggered by that? It's often hard to know who's on what side. So much lying. Who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? Well, here's a very clear, simple, and unerring test. Who are the tyrants? They're anyone who is bothered by the idea that other people might get to talk. That is an unfailing test. It's 100% accurate. Would you allow people who disagree with you to talk? If you wouldn't, you are a tyrant. And tonight, the tyrants are grieving.
Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Aqui é o Tradutor, eu tô passando para te avisar que eu tô numa campanha para conseguir pelo menos mais 9 apoiadores. Esse canal não é monetizado, então totalmente depende de você. Eu preciso muito do seu apoio para manter esse canal atualizado e vivo, né, no ar. Os links para apoiar esse nosso projeto estão na descrição desse vídeo e no comentário fixado. Então é muito fácil e muito simples de apoiar. É graças a essas pessoas incríveis que eu posso estar trazendo conteúdo para vocês. E é isso aí pessoal, não se esqueçam de deixar seu like, seu comentário e até mais. Fui! Grande abraço.